Hello and a very warm welcome. This is the news on NTR International. My name is Justin Bemuyi and here are the top stories. As INEC sets for supplementary elections on Saturday, Election Petition Tribunal declares Senator Ademola Adeleke winner of Osun State governorship election. President Buhari says the legislature and judiciary, besides a sufficient independence, should genuinely be empowered to perform without interference. Plus, as the world celebrates Global Water Day, federal government commences implementation of sanitation component of Wash Action Plan launched. Well, thank you very much for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari has signed into law the Engineers Registration Amendment Act 2019. And this gives the Council of Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, COREN, far-reaching powers to prosecute infractions relating to, amongst others, engineering failures in the country. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report on these and other engagements of the President.
Apart from its far-reaching implications on the practice of engineering in the country, the Engineers Registration Amendment Act 2019 is, to say the least, an appropriate response to the incidences of building collapse in Nigeria.
This act grants COREN power to prosecute any person who is involved in any infraction in engineering practice, including engineering failures of any description. Again, the Act makes it mandatory for foreign engineering firms practicing in Nigeria to have mandatory attachment of Nigerian engineers to those engineering firms. And it makes it mandatory that they should train these Nigerian engineers so that they can take over from them. It also makes it mandatory that before any company, foreign engineering firm practices in Nigeria, COREN, certifies that there is no qualified engineers or skilled or practitioners in that field before those companies can be allowed to practice in Nigeria.
The Act also provides that foreign engineering firms must establish their design offices in Nigeria, while Nigerian engineers are not in any manner discriminated against in patronage.
If you are a foreign engineer or a foreign engineering firm, unlike what is the practice now, you are compulsorily to register with the Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria so that you could be responsible to the Council. Your foreign registration or qualification outside without registration in Nigeria under this Act does not suffice any longer. The Act provides that for NYSC, that is National Youth Service Corps, they are to be mandatorily attached or posted to places where they could have experience, that is engineering firms.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has granted audience to the governor of Kaduna State, who formally reported to him that he was never involved in any accident.
Social media provides a platform for dissemination of information, but it is also a platform for dissemination of lies and hatred. And we should be very careful that we don't use this platform to advance the cause of the enemies of this country.
Governor El Rufai also responded to the claim of the 2019 elections victory by the PDP and its candidate Atiku Abubakar, describing it as a huge joke.
He has lost Kaduna. He will always lose Kaduna, and he will lose Kaduna 10 more times if he contests, because PDP has never won Kaduna. We don't know the existence of an INEC server. We don't know how they had access to it. They will tell us during the tribunal proceedings. We live in the age of fake news and fake claims, and anyone can make a claim, but you have to prove it.
The president also engaged the re-elected member of the House of Representatives from Kano State, Abdul Mumini Jibrin.
I believe that any elected senator or member of the APC will allow himself to be used by the opposition, like in the case of 2015. This time around, if anybody allows himself to be used against the party by the opposition, there will certainly be consequences.
The chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Abdullahi Mukhtar, also briefed President Muhammadu Buhari on the diligent execution of the Commission's mandate to provide efficient and effective services to Nigerian pilgrims on the journey of faith. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And meanwhile, the report on a 3-story building near collapse, the Abuja Metropolitan Management Council says it has resolved to eject occupants of the defected 3-story building in Gariki 2. Coordinator of the council, Umar Shaibu, said these are the final inspection of the building, and Adebola Brooksland Sunday reports.
The matter, we are not arguing here.
The scene was tensed as the coordinator and representative of the occupants, Lanre Ajibola, argued on whose responsibility it should be to fix the foundational problem.
How can you buy something and expect the person that you bought from to come and maintain the place that you bought?
If you sold the house to us and we later discover there are structural problems, that is not our problem, but we have been maintaining the building. They need to relocate us. I mean, where do you want to pack the families to? You want to enforce? Are you going to throw our things on the streets?
The coordinator was emphatic about the council's take on the lives involved, especially as the rains are here.
Public building has also infected this place. If it involves bringing down the building, why not? If there is any measure, remedial measure that we do, we do. So that one will be later. But let's save lives first. Let the people evacuate this building and leave this building. Today we want to leave this building and we're sealing the place.
Discussing with in the council, maybe Department of Facility Maintenance can look at the possibility of getting alternative accommodation for them for the meantime.
Investigation shows that owners bought the building from the federal government in 2006. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari says the legislature and the judiciary need not only be sufficiently independent, but genuinely empowered to perform their respective constitutional duties without interference, let or hindrance. And this was while inaugurating the Presidential Implementation Committee on the State Legislature and the State Judiciary, which he described as necessary preconditions towards achieving an enduring democratic culture in the country. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu again has details.
In furtherance of his determination towards deepening Nigeria's democratic institutions and systems, President Muhammadu Buhari had in June last year assented to the 4th alteration bill of the 1999 Constitution as amended, thereby granting financial autonomy to the state judiciaries and houses of assembly.
May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
This presidential committee, with membership drawn from both the federal and state legislative as well as judicial arms of government, the NBA, civil society, and the Accountant General of the Federation, is to ensure that the autonomy granted the legislature and judiciary at the state level is maintained.
It is my hope that once this is done, there will be proper checks and balances, and the state legislature and judiciary shall be genuinely empowered to carry out their respective constitutional duties without fear of dominance or marginalization. The legislature, being the closest arm of government to the people, and the judiciary, as hope of the common man, must both be seen to be sufficiently independent to perform their respective constitutional roles without any interference, let or hindrance.
The committee has, amongst other terms of reference, to assess the level of compliance by all the states of the Federation and the FCT, consult and relate with the appropriate federal and state MDAs, as well as enforce where necessary the implementation of the constitutional provisions.
I urge members of the committee to be meticulous and diligent in discharging their duties and to ensure compliance with their approved terms of reference. We are committed to strengthening our democracy by ensuring separation of powers among the 3 tiers or arms of government, even at the state level.
Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, is the chairman of the committee, while the senior special assistant to the President on National Assembly matters, Senator Ita Enang, is to serve as secretary.
It is the stand of this committee to act within the bounds of Section 121, subsection 3, in galvanizing the relevant sectors of government and stakeholders towards the implementation and actualization of statutory autonomy granted to state legislature and state judiciary by our organic law, being the 1999 Constitution as amended. Legislative and judicial autonomy must prevail.
The committee has 3 months within which to complete its assignment. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The Election Petition Tribunal has declared Senator Ademola Adeleke as the winner of the Osun State governorship election. The tribunal held that the petitioner succeeded in its claim of winning the election conducted on 22nd September 2018. Olabode Ariwa reports that the tribunal also agreed that the petitioner allegedly proved that INEC officials made alterations on the election results. After the announcement, the tribunal ordered INEC to retrieve the certificate of return from Governor Boyega Oyetola and issue certificate of return to Ademola Adeleke. There was also a minority judgment. In the meantime, the Independent National Electoral Commission says it has no regrets conducting supplementary elections because it is done on the side of the law and it is ready for tomorrow's supplementary elections. Let's join Mio Gidi for areas the elections will be conducted in 18 states of the Federation.
Pending a supplementary, we fix a date. The 23rd of March will be the date we'll conduct all pending supplementary elections. So the dates for the elections have been fixed. Let me see this opportunity to explain and clarify this to Nigerians. The Electoral Act is very clear. Section 26 and Section 53. Section 26 deals with violence. Section 53 talks about overvoting. Where that occurs and the total number of registered persons in places where voting does not take place is in excess of the margin of lead, the Commission shall fix another date for the election. So what we have done is consistent with the provisions of the law. Election is, after all, a process governed by law. We can't circumvent the law. So where we need to go back to conclude the elections, we'll go back and conclude the elections.
That reference being made by the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, comfortably places INEC on the side of the law, bearing in mind the public outcry and the discomfort that comes with inconclusive elections in the country. Feelers from the affected states indicate that all is set for March 23rd elections, while the people of Rivers State are warming up for April 13, 2019 for their own share of the supplementary elections. Mayor Ogidi, NT News.
Meanwhile, in furtherance of his commitment towards ensuring hitch-free elections in the country, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has directed the Zonal Assistant Inspector Generals of Police and their respective Commissioners of Police in states where supplementary elections are taking place to ensure that adequate mechanisms are in place towards ensuring a safe and secure environment for the conduct of the elections. To further strengthen the security arrangements around the polls, the IGP has also deployed 5 DIGs, 3 AIGs, 15 additional CPS to provide supervision, direction and support to the existing security structure already in place in those states. In a statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, Frank Mba, the IGP commended the officers for their sterling performances in previous elections and urged them to remain patriotic, steadfast, professional, neutral and civil, but firm in their conducts and actions during the make-up elections. He warned politicians not to undermine the electoral process by engaging in untoward practices such as snatching of ballot boxes, vote trading, and violence of all kinds, stressing that violators would be made to face the full consequences of the law. Still on the elections, ahead of the supplementary polls slated for Saturday in parts of the country, the Civil Society Situation Room is calling on politicians to shun violence and other actions that could undermine the process. And this was at a media briefing in Abuja, and Victor Azu was there.
Nigerians are warming up for Saturday's supplementary elections in 18 states of the Federation, with INEC declaring its readiness for the process. Drawn from observations in the March 9th and 23rd general elections, convener of the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room, Clement Nwankwo, is calling on INEC and other key players to ensure transparency so as to add value to the electoral process.
The situation calls on all arms of the security services invited by INEC to assist with the conduct of the supplementary elections to conduct themselves in a non-partisan and professional manner. The situation calls on political parties and candidates to take part in the elections devoid of perpetrating violence, vote buying, or other electoral malpractices.
The Situation Room also calls on Nigerians in the affected areas to come out and elect their preferred candidates. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International. At this time, we take a break now and be right back. Please don't go away.
The NYSC 2019 Batch A orientation course will commence on Wednesday, 27th March 2019 in all NYSC orientation camps nationwide. Commencement of registration, Wednesday, 27th March 2019. Cut-off date for registration, 12 midnight. Thursday, 28th March 2019. Swearing-in ceremony, Friday, 29th March 2019. Closing ceremony, Tuesday, 16th April 2019. Prospective corps members are advised to check the following newspapers for details. Tribune, Friday, 22nd March 2019. Leadership on this day, Monday, 25th March 2019. Guardian, Tuesday, 26th March 2019. Vanguard, Wednesday, 27th March 2019. Prospective corps members are advised to report to the orientation camp indicated on their call-up letters. Announcer, Management.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
You're welcome back. Now for some reports from the financial sector, let's join Olayinka Ojo for the business news.
Welcome to Business News. The federal government has started the first phase rehabilitation of the 210,000 barrels per day capacity Port Harcourt refinery complex. The scope of the work comprises 60,000 barrels per day old refinery built in 1965 and the 150,000 barrels per day new refinery commissioned in 1989. The exercise, flagged off by the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Mekanti Barrow, is coming 19 years after the last turnaround maintenance of the plant. The successful conduct of the general elections is rubbing off positively on investments, with the inflow of over $6 billion into the local bond markets. Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele, who said this at a post-election outlook conference in Lagos, described the foreign capacity inflows to the bond market as an indication of the continued investors' confidence in the strength of the economy. Let's now take a quick check on how the equities market fared this Friday. And that's it on this segment of the news. I am Olayinka Ojo.
22nd March annually is Global Water Day. It is a day meant to focus attention on the importance of fresh water and advocate sustainable management of freshwater resources. This year's theme is Leaving No One Behind. Meanwhile, the federal government has commenced the implementation of the sanitation component of the WASH Action Plan launched by President Muhammadu Buhari last year. In this regard, Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu has launched a website to trigger campaign and monitor developments on open defecation across the nation. Musba Odanwahab has a report.
Imminently ready to hand over the world #1 ranking in open defecation to Nigeria by October of this year. And Nigeria's government and partners are also striving hard to avoid the shame. But then 47 million Nigerians are still practicing open defecation. Starting off the campaign to end the menace, Water Resources Minister says Nigerians must be aware of the enormity of the health hazard inherent, while the country also loses about 500 billion naira annually to poor sanitation.
The Ministry of Water Resources has put in place the Clean Nigeria program to end open defecation in Nigeria by 2025 with the slogan, Clean Nigeria, use the toilet.
The minister says, with the president already demonstrating the political will with the state of emergency declaration on the wash sector, attaining an open defecation-free Nigeria by 2025 is still feasible. Development partners in the sector also advocate for the provision of toilet facilities in public places, especially in schools, to curb open defecation and prevent Nigerians from the prevalence of waterborne diseases.
Regardless how much we invest today in children or women or community well-being, we realize that as long as you have challenges in access to water, challenges in access to sanitation, the burden remains the same.
Already, the website is active and the ministry encourages everyone to participate in the campaign. In Abuja, Musbal and Wahab, NT News.
The Martin Luther Agwe International Leadership and Peacekeeping Training Center of the Nigerian Army, Jaji, has graduated and deployed troops to the Gambia for peacekeeping operations. Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun reports.
12 officers, 185 soldiers underwent 4-month pre-redeployment training in various strategy and tactics of peacekeeping and peace support operations.
The troops are to be deployed to the Republic of Gambia in view of the prevailing security challenges there.
The 197 troops were prepared for the multidimensional challenges in contemporary peacekeeping environment based on United Nations pre-redeployment models.
The philosophy behind the training is in line with the Army Headquarters' vision of deploying quality peacekeepers for peace support operations.
Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai, represented by the Commandant Nigerian School of Infantry Jaji Major General Ali Kefi, advised the troops to exhibit good morals while in peacekeeping mission in Gambia.
You must respect the cultural and religious sensitivity of the people as the host.
The platoons were presented awards for outstanding performance during the training. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun, NTA News.
From other parts of the globe, Uche Ugochuk is our guide.
Hello and welcome. President Emerson Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe, through his Twitter handle, has made public a 19-point plan to help affected communities who suffered losses following Cyclone Ida. The plan includes intensifying the search for the missing and ensuring food relief, free medical services, temporary shelter and clean water, while working to prevent disease outbreaks, restore social services and relocate settlements. The president has declared Saturday and Sunday national mourning days in Zimbabwe. The United States of America has imposed sanctions on 3 senior electoral officials from the Democratic Republic of Congo who played key roles in last year's presidential election. The U.S. government is accusing the sanctioned officials of corruption and obstructing the presidential election, even though it did not question the legitimacy of President Felix Tshisekedi's victory. President Tshisekedi has since been sworn in, taking over from Joseph Kabila. And the European Union says, in accordance with international law, it will not recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights in the wake of U.S. President Donald Trump's declaration that Washington would do so. A spokeswoman for EU Foreign Policy, Chief Federica Mogherini, said in a statement carried by several news outlets. Her comments came as Trump's move is condemned by Syria and its allies, Russia and Iran, as well as Turkey. That's it from here. I am Uche Ugochukwu. Thanks for being a part of it.
And now talking sports, the Super Eagles of Nigeria has defeated Seychelles 3-1 in the final AFCON qualifier played in Asaba.